Hello, welcome back to Any Pistols. Today we're having a look at a Steyr LP5. This is a HPA or PCP pistol, 5 shots, self-indexing, 177, and it's a target pistol. Let's start by looking at the markings on it. So on this side of the barrel shroud, Steyr compensator, the Steyr logo, match LP5 for the model and Steyr Mannlicher for the manufacturer, and Steyr Air on the regulator here. CM for Marini, and the match sticker again for the on the grip. And on this side, the caliber 4.5, so 177, the serial number, made in Austria, the German low pressure marking showing it's a low powered air pistol or low powered air weapon, and again Steyr Air on the regulator, and again Steyr compensator on the barrel shroud. There's a lot of information on the air cylinder, and we'll touch on that in a second when I get one of them off. The rear sight, by this stage adjustable for windage and elevation, well marked, easy to use, click adjustable and just using your fingers. And it's also adjustable for the rear sight gap. So with these screws, we've got a worm drive on there to adjust the rear sight gap. So really usable, and particularly if you're in the rapid fire disciplines, then having that wider gap is probably something you'll use. So having that level of adjustment is really good. The other thing about the rear sight is, in common with a lot of Steyrs, if you undo this screw in here, you can actually move the rear sight backwards, so you can get a maximum overall length if you need the extra precision. But for a lot of the more action-based, so rapid fire, generally you want a slightly shorter sight radius as it's a bit more forgiving on the aim. Front sight, this one's got a 4mm blade on it, but they are interchangeable, you get different widths. Screwed onto the top of the barrel shroud, and you can move it down through each of these screw holes. So in theory, you can get quite a short sight radius, or alternatively a reasonably long one if you want a bit more precision to it. The barrel shroud is aluminium, and it covers the barrel. The barrel is about there in the barrel shroud. And then you've got the compensator bit, which is basically the two cuts in the top of the barrel shroud, and they just are venting air up. And what you've got then is an air stripper, which is just a cone, is a solid cone for the pellet to pass through and strip the air off of. And so there you've got the muzzle end of it. So as I said, it's just a solid air stripper there. And you can actually see, if I get the light right on it, you can actually see some lead dust actually in that compensator, showing where it's being blown up through. That's there just to try and help tame some of the recoil. There's not a lot, but there is some. The barrel inside is stainless steel, bright, no porting or anything else in it at this stage, so it's just a good high quality stainless steel barrel. And the compensator, the barrel shroud just sits onto it. It's a good tight fit, and then is held in place by this grub screw at the back, which you just tighten down to hold it back and level. So you can actually wiggle it around if you need to. The receiver itself, the main part of the receiver body, is machined aluminium, very crisp and very nice. Moving back then to the trigger, fully adjustable for first, second stage, all the weights, as you would expect for a 10-meter precision target pistol trigger. Also, if you slacken this screw off here, you can move the trigger shoe forwards and backwards and side to side. You can't turn it through an angle, but it is very adjustable. This one's actually got a piece of leather stuck on the face of the trigger shoe, and that's how it arrived with me. I haven't changed it. It feels quite nice, so I've left it. The grip, said made by Marini. A very nice one-piece hardwood grip with an adjustable palm shelf. This one's in medium size. 2 screws to adjust the palm shelf if you need to. Probably the best LP5 or LP50 grip I've met. My GB Squad LP50 was carved about, covered in filler, and I struggled to get that to feel just right. This one, I picked it up and it fits like a glove, and I've had to do nothing to it to give me that level of confidence in it that I can just pick it up and use it. It goes where I point it, and I'm not having to kind of hold on to it in any way. It's got a couple of equipment control stickers on it. They're part of its history and they'll stay there. So, and then the earlier grips, the Marini grips for Steyrs, you'll find, because they've got this match logo on the bottom. So sometimes you'll find these LP5s with later Steyr grips or even other people's grips on them, but the early ones, the correct ones, will have this logo on the bottom, which indicates that they're original to the pistol. The grip can also be adjusted for rake, for angle. Take the grip off, you've got 2 screws in the back of the receiver. You can bring those out to give yourself a bit more vertical, or as it is at the moment, in its minimum setting, so the most dropped it can be. While you've got the grip off, you've also got an adjustment on the back of the receiver for the spring weight for the hammer, so you can change the velocity somewhat using that within range. Always put it over a chrono when you've done it, but yeah, you're not going to get this over 6 foot-pounds, but you can increase it and you can fine-tune it, so it's a really good system. HPA, PCP, so beautiful gold air cylinder, aluminium, and we'll go on those. So they've got one off, and they've got a serial number. They're all serialized, and they've also got their production date. So this one's 04/9 to April 97. What you've got then on the other side, on the other end, is Steyr, a Mannlicher for the manufacturer, and a max 200 bar fill. And there's also an empty weight for the cylinder, harking back to when they were also used for CO2. The filling valve is just a blow-in type, so you screw it on, it just blows in. And what you've also got there is a blow-out valve. So in the event that you overpressurize these before the cylinder gives way, you've got a blow-out valve. If you manage to get that to operate, then it's back to the manufacturer, which of course no one's going to do anything about these days. These are quite old now. I use them, they're perfectly good. They work very well. The other thing there, when there's no air in it, that little bubble there is low, so it doesn't stick up at all. When you've got air in it, it pops out. So you can see you've got a charge of air, and as you use the air, that drops back and back. So I don't know quite how far it has to go back before it stops working. I never normally let it get that far. But if that bit is stuck out like that, it means you've got a charge of air in it. Other good things about that, well, it's a Steyr, it's an LP50. If you want to be more modern and you're worried about cylinders, any Steyr air cylinder that's available now will fit. So short ones, long ones, they've all got the gauges on the ends, just tell you how much you've got in there. They're all still 200 bar fill. They all still come with Steyr. They've got a serial number, fill weight. So you know you've got all the information there. That's an 06 one, 2012 one, and a 2022 one. So very easy to get replacement cylinders, and not a massive issue if your original cylinders are backing up, or you're a little bit concerned about taking something that old onto the range. Okay, so how does it work from there? You've got your air in here. You've got a regulator. So you've got a Belleville washer stack in this regulator in here. And the reason for saying air on there, Steyr air, is because this pistol was also available for a time as CO2. And the only real difference was the regulator. So that was pretty much it. They're not truly interchangeable, so they are slightly different, but the basic pistol was available in both models. So operating it, you've got an air cylinder full of air, you've got a magazine to be put into the pistol, and you get a choice of 2. You've got a single shot magazine, so if you're using it for precision pistol, where you're not allowed to load 5 shots at a time, you've got a single shot magazine. We'll start with that. So the first thing to do to load it is to cock the pistol. So you've got this cocking aid with a pair of wings on either side, and you just push that back. And you can do that, so you just push it back. Once you've done that, you can operate the trigger. So that's operated. And there's a catch in here, so unless you've got a magazine in place, you don't get any air. So we'll just do that again. So finger either side, I mean either over the top, I don't always did it underneath. That's cocked the pistol. The other thing is, without it cocked, you can't load a magazine. So cock it, magazine goes in, and the trough on the top, there is a spring loaded plunger on the top there. So as you put the magazine in, catches, so you've got a release catch here, so you need to lift that up to be able to break the magazine out, and that's just catching on this cutout on the bottom of the magazine here. So put it in, and you simply drop a pellet in, and it's going to catch on this cutout here. So you push that in, and you just hear it go click, and that's now held, so the magazine's in place. And I'll give it this angle. So you take up the first stage, and it fires, and it just pushes the magazine out the side there. So to remove the magazine, catch hold of it with thumb and finger, and use your middle finger there just to push that lever up, so you've got control of it as you take the magazine out. Really easy. 5-shot magazine, so standard magazine. I have seen these being available as 3D printed now. So the magazines from Steyr are all aluminium. Really easy to load. And as I said, with these, what you're getting is the drive is basically a spring. So the spring is what drives the magazine to index across. And all that's happening is as you fire, it gets released, it goes forward one. So as you fire, it comes down, releases, moves on one. So you're not actually physically driving that, it's just the spring power that's pushing the magazine across. Could try and get a view through it, but so you can just see in the bottom of the magazine well there, you can just see that tooth sticking up. So yeah, if no magazine, doesn't fire, cock it, magazine in place, and then it will fire, which is quite good. So you can do some dry fire training. If you want to do full training, dry fire training without actually using shooting anything, you can just use an empty magazine. Alternatively, you can get completely blank magazines that have got all the teeth on the bottom but have no holes in them, so obviously you don't expel any air. It's a bit quieter, it's quite loud. So it's a 5-shot and it is brilliant, and the trigger is absolutely lovely. It's as good as you get on any of the other Steyrs of this age. You've just got 5 shots to go, and having shot it again, thumb and finger, use your middle finger underneath, take the magazine out, and it is that lovely. So accuracy, come on, it's a Steyr. I'm quite happy with this one actually, because when I got it, it actually came with its original manual as well. And this says there were 3 shots. They used an RWS 4.49. I use a 4.5 pellet. I find it grips the magazine better, but that's my personal. And I generally use R10s. So 3-shot group. It doesn't say what range it was, but you know, it's a 3-shot group. So how did I do? Well, I started out doing some 8-second drills. So R10, it's an 8-second exposure. I'm pretty happy with that. Not my best, but that's pretty good. So slow it down, and yeah, it's a precision pistol. It might be 5-shot, but there's absolutely no doubt you're not losing anything from the trigger or the sights for having 5 shots available. You've just got 5 more lots of fun. So there you go. It's accurate. It's really good, and it's easy to operate. So production dates for these. 1990-91 was the CO2 version, which effectively is the same. Then you've got really kind of 1998 as the start, and certainly this one. And again, I know because I got the book with a guarantee, which never got sent off. So you got all the details sent in, but no one ever actually sent off the guarantee card. So 12th of March 98. So this must have been one of the first of these into the country, and still operating beautifully. So then production moves forward, and it becomes the later LP50 with some subtle changes, but basically the same. I mean, the parts are interchangeable, the barrel shrouds are interchangeable, the air strippers are interchangeable, the cylinders are interchangeable. I don't think the regulators are, but the trigger is, anybody buying an LP50, you'll recognise that trigger block. I think they made a downward movement with the grips when they went from Marini to home produced, but that's me. This was the third of the big three. So Walther came in first with their CP50 and CP5, CO2 powered, and then you got the fine work bow with the C5, and then latterly the C55, and then Steyr, who'd kind of sat back and watched. I think there'd been a bit of a race, and I think they thought, right, we're not going to win it, so let's kind of hang back and make sure we learn from everybody else. And they did. And as I said, what they've produced is a pistol that basically is still in production. It's been tinkered with, but it's basically still in production. The method of the moving the magazine across, the way the pistol works in itself is exactly the same. And it just says that it was a successful design. The other two, the Walther, was only in production for a couple of years. Fine work bows offerings lasted a little bit longer, but they gave up with the C55. They've come back now with a new one. So if anyone's got one they want to let me review, I'd be more than happy. But I don't have the odd couple of grand lying around for a new one. So the Steyr LP5, the first really successful 5-shot self-indexing target pistol, and it really is that good. It's the one I used as part of the GB squad, and this one is still just as good. It might be 45 years on, but hey, it works perfectly. I think it's been resealed at some point. It really needed it probably, but it works. So there you go, the Steyr LP5 match. If you've liked this, then please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, tell other people about it, and otherwise I'll see you again soon with another pistol. Thanks very much. Bye.